the officer has no clue whether you're going to pull out a wallet or a weapon. Your fingers might be too sweaty for the fingerprint unlock to work. Often, officers will respond by making a light-hearted comment like, "If you don't reach for your firearm, I won't reach for mine." By touching the trunk, officers leave their fingerprints on your car, which serves as evidence that they were in contact with the vehicle at some point. Keep your hands visible on the steering wheel to show the officer you're not a threat. Today, we're discussing what to do if you're pulled over by police while driving in Illinois. Integral part of dealing with traffic accidents involves understanding traffic laws and traffic tickets. Our conversation is based on the guidelines provided in Chapter 4 of the Illinois Rules of the Road 2024 edition. You can find the link to this material in the video description. Being pulled over can be stressful, but knowing the proper steps can help ensure the encounter goes as smoothly as possible. My name is Grzegorz Czubernat, and I am a personal injury and accident attorney in the state of Illinois. My job is to help individuals who have been injured in accidents to secure fair compensation for their injuries. If you have suffered personal injuries and need legal help, contact me and I will help you understand your rights and fight for what you deserve. Let's start with what you should do when you see those flashing lights behind you. Immediately slow down and activate your turn signal to indicate that you're looking for a safe place to pull over. Pull over to the right-hand shoulder of the roadway. If there's no shoulder or if it's too narrow, continue to the next safest location. Avoid stopping on bridges, curves, or next to guardrails and medians, where it's simply unsafe for both you and the officer. You may want to try getting off the main road and pull into a parking lot, a gas station, or a side street with less traffic. Turn down the volume of your radio and listen for any instructions the officer may give you over the loudspeaker system. You can lower your window a bit to better hear any potential instructions. It goes without saying that you should get off the phone if you happen to be on the phone. Some officers may activate their lights at a less than ideal locations, such as just before a busy intersection or a narrow bridge. More experienced officers or those more familiar with the area may follow you for a while until they find a safer spot to conduct the stop and then activate their flashing lights at a more suitable location. Once you've pulled over, here's what you should do next. Keep your hands visible on the steering wheel to show the officer you're not a threat. You might think that reaching over to the glove box to get your wallet is harmless, but the officer has no clue whether you're going to pull out a wallet or a weapon. Ideally, by the time the officer leaves their car and approaches yours, you should have in your hand your driver's license and insurance. Some officers may ask you for registration as well. If it's dark outside, you may want to turn the lights on inside your car so that the officer can see that the inside of your vehicle is safe. Turn off the engine and remain in your car unless the officer asks you to step out. Exiting your car without instruction can be seen as a threat or an attempt to flee on foot. Your passengers should remain calm and not interfere with the stop. The same applies to any pets you may have with you. For example, if you have a large dog in the back seat, make sure the rear windows are closed so that the approaching officer does not get attacked. Officers can approach your vehicle from either the driver or the passenger side. Stay calm and wait for the instructions. If your license, registration, or insurance is stored in a glove box or another compartment, inform the officer where it is before reaching for it. For example, say my wallet is in my purse that I left in the trunk. If an unmarked vehicle is attempting to pull you over and you're simply not sure if it's legitimate, then drive below the speed limit to a well-lit, populated area. Alternatively, drive to the nearest police station or call 911 to confirm the officer's identity while indicating you're complying with the stop. Activate your hazard lights to signal to the officer that you acknowledge their presence. When requested by a police officer, a driver must produce proof of insurance. Under Illinois law, it's legal to show proof of insurance as an electronic image on a cell phone. However, I still recommend keeping a paper copy. Stress can make you forget your phone or app password, or your fingers might be too sweaty for the fingerprint unlock to work. Additionally, if your phone is damaged in a car crash, you won't be able to provide the insurance information when requested. A paper copy eliminates these issues. During a traffic stop, you might notice specific behaviors from officers. One common action is touching the trunk of the vehicle. Officers do this to ensure it is closed and that no one is hiding inside who could pose a threat by jumping out during the traffic stop. Additionally, by touching the trunk, officers leave their fingerprints on your car, which serves as evidence that they were in contact with the vehicle at some point. This can be crucial if something happens to the officer because it provides a link between the officer and your car. Some officers will introduce themselves by their full name, department, and badge numbers. Others might ask you if you know why they pulled you over. It's generally not a good idea to admit guilt by saying something like, "Yes, I know, I was speeding 30 miles over the speed limit." Some police departments may have a prescribed script, while others may allow more flexibility. Understand that you may not immediately know the reason for the stop. Sometimes stops happen due to minor infractions, like a broken rear light that you might not even be aware of, or because your car matches the description of one that was involved in a crime. Remember, the officer's goal is to return home safely to their family after their shift. Help them by complying with their instructions without incriminating yourself. Cooperation can make the stop safer and smoother for everyone involved. In Illinois, a police officer may be able to access information on whether you have a firearm owner's identification card, FOID, and a concealed carry license, CCL. In Illinois, you are not legally required to disclose that you are carrying a firearm during a traffic stop unless you're asked about it by the officer, in which case you must answer. However, it's a good practice to always inform the officer at the outset if you are a CCL holder and have a firearm with you. For example, you can say, "I'm a lawful CCL holder and I have a firearm on my right hip." This transparency can help build trust. Often, officers will respond by making a light-hearted comment like, "If you don't reach for your firearm, I won't reach for mine." Some might even engage in a small talk about firearms, asking you about your preferred gun range or a holster. Although I am not licensed to practice law in Michigan, I believe that Michigan requires you to immediately disclose to an officer if you have a firearm on your person or in your vehicle during a traffic stop. It is good practice to always be upfront about it given the differences in state laws. If a traffic stop results in a ticket or arrest, do not argue with the officer at the scene. You can contest the ticket in court with the help of an experienced attorney. If you're taken into custody, do not resist. You do not want the judge or prosecutor to show body camera footage of you being disrespectful, unruly, or swearing at an officer. This behavior can severely damage your case and reduce your chances of a favorable outcome. That wraps up today's episode on what to do if you're pulled over by police in Illinois. Knowing these steps can help keep you safe and ensure the stop goes as smoothly as possible. Stay safe out there, and thank you for watching. If you want to listen to my podcast on other platforms, remember that my podcast is now available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. See you next week.